I call this series Unmuted Memoirs. These are the quiet truths I wish someone had shouted at me a decade ago. If you are currently in your 30s, or perhaps approaching them, you might recognize this feeling. It is a subtle shift in the air, a change in the light. Most people assume that this decade is about arrival. We imagine it as a time for consolidation. We think we will finally have the answers we sought in our 20s. Our careers should be gaining momentum. Our relationships should feel settled. Our lives, we believe, should begin to look like the pictures we held in our minds for so long. This expectation is not loud or demanding. It is a quiet, persistent hum in the background of our daily lives. It is there when we wake up in the morning, making coffee in a kitchen we worked hard to afford. It is there during our commutes, as we look out the window at a world that seems to be moving according to plan. We believe that by this age, the chaotic energy of youth will have calmed into a steady, forward-moving current. We expect a sense of knowing, a feeling that the foundations are now securely in place. We are meant to be building the upper floors of our lives, not checking the base for cracks. This narrative of the 30s is one we absorb from all around us. It is sold to us in films, in stories, and in the polite questions asked at family gatherings. Are you settled yet? They ask, with the best of intentions. The question itself implies a destination, a finish line for the messy part of life. We internalize this script without even realizing it. We start to measure our own progress against this invisible timeline. The 30s are supposed to be about having it figured out, at least more than before. It is the decade of adulting with confidence, of knowing the rules of the game you have chosen to play. But this grand story of arrival often misses the most profound part of the experience. It overlooks the small, almost imperceptible moments that truly define this era of life. The story focuses on the milestones, the visible achievements that can be announced and celebrated. It speaks of promotions, mortgages, and marriages as the primary markers of success. What it fails to mention are the quiet lessons that arrive without fanfare. These are the truths that do not appear on a checklist. They are the subtle internal shifts that happen when no one is watching, not even ourselves, until one day we notice their weight. What actually stays with us from this decade is not the sense of having arrived. It is something far quieter and often more unsettling. It is the slow, dawning recognition that the map we were given does not quite match the territory we are in. The clear path we envisioned begins to reveal unexpected turns, quiet dead ends. The answers we thought we would have by now are replaced by more nuanced, sometimes more difficult questions. This is not a dramatic crisis, not a sudden storm. It is more like a gentle, persistent rain that slowly soaks through the fabric of our expectations, leaving us feeling damp and a little cold. This reality arrives in small, unremarkable moments. It is the feeling you get on a Tuesday afternoon at work, realizing the career you built with such care feels less like a passion and more like a cage. It is the quiet dinner with a partner where you both sense a distance that words cannot seem to cross. It is looking in the mirror and seeing the first lines of fatigue that sleep does not erase. These are not failures. They are simply points of friction between the life we imagined and the life we are living. They are the quiet lessons about routine and reality that no one ever thought to mention to us. These are the 5 essential life lessons about routine and reality that I had to learn the hard way. They were not taught in a lecture or read in a book. They were learned in the silence of my own thoughts, during long walks with no destination. They were pieced together from moments of quiet disappointment and surprising small joys. These lessons are not about achieving more or striving harder. They're about seeing what is already there, with a clearer, more compassionate eye. They are about understanding the texture of daily life, not just its grand architecture. My hope is to give voice to these unspoken truths, not to offer solutions because there are no simple ones, but to create a space for reflection, to acknowledge the quiet destabilization that many of us feel but rarely discuss. This is not a guide to fixing your life in your 30s. It is an invitation to sit with the experience, to look at it without judgment. Most people assume that the 30s are about finding solid ground. After the explorations and uncertainties of our 20s, we expect to finally plant our feet. We imagine our life's path straightening out, becoming clearer and more predictable. This is the decade, we are told, where momentum builds. The effort of the previous years is supposed to start paying off. We envision a steady upward climb, maybe not a dramatic one, but a reliable ascent nonetheless. This belief is comforting. It suggests that if we just follow the right steps, we will arrive at a place of stability and earned peace. We believe our choices will start to feel less like gambles and more like sound investments. This idea of a steady path is deeply ingrained in our collective psyche. It is the story of adulthood we have been absorbing since childhood. Do the work and the rewards will follow. Be responsible and life will become manageable. We look at the lives of those who came before us, or at least the versions of their lives they chose to present, and we see a blueprint, a career that grows a family that forms a home that is built. We internalize this linear progression as the natural order of things. We come to expect our internal world to mirror this external tidiness. Our anxieties should lessen, our confidence should grow, our sense of purpose should sharpen into focus. But that is not what actually stays with us. What truly marks this decade is the quiet, creeping realization that the path is not steady at all. It is not a highway, but a series of winding country roads, some of which are not even on the map. The ground beneath our feet, which we thought was solid rock, often reveals itself to be shifting sand. The momentum we expected feels less like a smooth acceleration and more like a series of stops and starts. This is not a catastrophic failure. It is a quiet, personal discovery that the blueprint we were following was never a guarantee. It was just one possible story among many. The dissonance is unsettling precisely because it is so quiet. There's no great explosion, no dramatic event to which we can point and say, that is where everything changed. Instead, it is a slow fading of the picture we held in our minds. It is the gradual understanding that life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be navigated, often without a clear destination. The solid ground we were searching for was perhaps a myth all along. The real task we slowly begin to see is learning how to keep our balance on a constantly moving surface, finding a sense of stability within ourselves when the world outside offers none.